Welcome to Almost Agreeable.
Almost Agreeable.
With your hosts, Chris Nellison and Ed Harris. Hang around and listen to opinions on sports, movies, music, and whatever else pops in our head.
All right, and welcome back. We took a week off there just to kind of, recharge the batteries a little bit. And it has nothing to do with the fact that both of our teams had a bye week that week. I realized that today.
Oh.
Yeah, I realized it has nothing to do with that. It really doesn't, but it looks sus.
Whatever, I'll own it. Yeah, we don't care about football if it's not our teams.
Okay, fair, I guess. But it's an exciting week, but... Now we're on to week 7. Week 7 had a lot of big games, like big outcomes that kind of, we're almost at the midway point of the season here. And going into week 8 next week, we kind of know who our teams, our good teams are, our great teams, and our not so great teams.
I mean, we're a third of the way through the season, a bit, and I feel like this is really when it starts to show. Like, of course, you think of it like the first 4 games, next 4 games. Think of it 4 games, think of quarters. But now that we're like a third of the way through, it's definitely starting to show more of who is who.
Who is who?
Of whoever we thought they were is.
Yeah, we could use that reference every week and it would make sense.
Yeah.
It was funny. He was the coach that drafted Larry Fitz.
Yeah.
I saw that during the Sunday night game. Like, they had a picture of him because he's legendary.
Yeah.
And, like, in the background was Denny Green. And I was like, Larry Fitz was who we thought he was. So where do we want to start?
Same old. Go all the way back to Thursday, which seemed like very far away.
It does.
But do you remember that? Eagles-Giants?
Oh, I remember Daniel Jones, running too fast for his body.
I'm dead.
It was wild because he wasn't touched the entire time, and he was running so fast, but even if he would have slowed up a little bit, like before he got to the point where he just biffed it, if he would have slowed down, he still wasn't going to get got.
No, he wasn't going to be touched at all.
But he was just fucking tunnel vision, dude.
He got tunnel vision, and he was just like, it's like when a little kid is like running too fast, and they're just like, oh, hell yeah, I can't wait to see it. Like, you see it happening seconds before it actually does.
Yep.
And you're like, oh, yeah.
You can see him start. I felt bad for him. I really did, because, it's not a shitty team, in a shitty division, in a, it was a shitty game.
Well, you know what? It was a shitty game, but look, if they would have won that game...
It would have been second? Third?
They would have been second. Actually, they would have been second because they lost to the Cowboys. So the Cowboys would have been first. They would have been second.
What's crazy in that division? Because, like, and most of the divisions now, up at this point into week 7, it's like, so many teams are like 2 games back, or the third place team is like 4 games back, or the fourth place team is. With that division, it's like every week I watch one of those teams play, it's like if they win today, they can get first or they can get second. And I'm like, but they're 1-3-1.
Yeah. Yep. It's actually, I have a gripe. I have a very big gripe. So after this game, Philly is now 2-4-1.
Mm-hmm.
And this is before the Dallas game. This is before the Dallas, and they played the Redskins.
The Washington
football team, excuse me. So it was the football team so after the Thursday game, Eagles 2-4-1. Dallas at that point is 2-4.
Oh.
Okay? So at that point, they're 2-4. The winning percentage for Dallas is 33%. They've won a third of their games. So they've won 2 out of 6. At that point, the Eagles had won 2 out of 7. So if you've won 2 out of 7 games, your winning percentage would be 0.285, which is lower than 0.33.
This is why ties fuck you.
No. This tie, I didn't know this. Ties count for half of a win.
Oh.
Ties count for half of a win. If you do 2.5 divided by 7, it comes up with .357, which is their winning percentage currently.
And puts them at that point, put them above the Cowboys.
Yes. So their actual winning percentage, because a tie is not a win, it should not count as half of a win. Their winning percentage should be .285 at, well, right now.
Why is
Why
this a gripe? Like, why are you so upset about it?
It's a gripe because they have it's not an actual winning percentage. What the fuck is 0.5 of a win? That's not real.
Technicality, schmechnality, dude.
So actually, looking at the standings right now, both Washington and Dallas are 2 and 5. Their percentage is .286 because it rounds up. So they should all have the exact same winning percentage.
But the Eagles have that tie, that half a win.
Bullshit. Bullshit. I hate it. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You have not won the game. You have also not lost the game. But are you ever seeing it as, do they have now 4.5 losses? No.
Okay, I guess if you're going to throw it to put it like that, okay, yeah, I can kind of see why you're upset. Because it doesn't say that it's half a loss.
Nope.
Just half a win.
Just half a win.
That's all a tie is.
Yeah.
Good. I want to make sure our listeners know, I'm going to put in the description, the first 10 minutes is us talking about the value of a tie and your winning percentage.
I was going to say we've spent way too long talking about the NFC East than anybody needs.
Well, I mean, that game was two NFC East teams, right? Division game on a Thursday night. Had a lot of implications, especially in that division, like I said in the beginning. One win completely shakes up the division standings.
All the wins that like any kind of normal division would have, the NFC West is just taking from the NFC East.
Yeah, they stole.
They're just stealing the energy.
Yeah.
So I mean, but we'll get to that.
Okay.
So let's start out with a hot one. Just a now classic. All right, we'll go to Lions Falcons.
My God, just the Falcons here, dude. I think that every loss this year, they have found a different way to lose. We all know the comeback trope. Like, we all know that it's like, they're up by this many points, they're probably going to lose it. But, like, the kickoff one was different, and now this. You score a touchdown, and that's a bad thing.
The Falcons, they're like, oh, you win by scoring, right? and just forget game sense completely.
I don't even think it was that, because if you watch the play, which I watched several times, like Red Zone couldn't stop playing it.
Yeah.
It was like Gurley realized what was happening, but just couldn't fall down in time without the ball crossing the plane.
He was like, I don't know. Yeah. So, I mean, they did a whoopsie again. I mean, okay, look, the first game of the year, they were not going to beat the Seahawks. It just wasn't going to happen. Second game, the
kickoff.
Yeah.
The onside kick.
Third game, Big Dick Nick.
Yes.
Just let them come back a lot. And then the other two games, it was a close game with the Panthers, but it's a divisional game. You don't know how it's going to go. And then they just completely stomped on the Vikings. So let's say that, and then they should have and could have beaten the Lions. So they could be very easily 4-3 right now.
And what's that division look like right now? Tampa Bay.
The Bucs are 5-2.
Right.
So Saints are 4-2, and then Carolina's 3-4. So they could
be in the mix.
They could be right in the mix, and they're just like, nah.
We want to like revolutionize the losing industry.
Do you think they go for Trevor Lawrence? Do you think this is the plan? Like,
no, because they have to bank on the fact that Jets will win more than 3 games. That's not gonna happen.
Who knows? Maybe they're just doing this. It's the long game to get, like, Matty Ice is done, maybe, and they're just like, we got to get Trevor Lawrence. I'm calling it right now. Trevor Lawrence to the Falcons.
So many things would have to happen. Like, so first of all, if they want to do it this season, right, they'd have to just lose out, and the Jets would have to win 4 games. But maybe they're playing long game where, like, they do bad this season. The Jets still get the first pick, and then Trevor Lawrence stays, does not jump into the draft.
Okay.
And then next season, the Falcons do this shit again, and they get him.
There we go. I can get behind that.
Okay.
The Falcons, they're just allergic to winning.
Patricia hanging onto his job by a thread, boy.
Dude, everything that goes on is just right in Matt Patricia's favor, and it's... I don't know. I don't know. He's not bad, is he?
I
Is Matt Patricia bad?
don't know. I don't watch enough Lions games to know. I just know that, like, I think they got off to a rough start and they won a couple games, so now he's kind of safe. You know, they don't fire a lot of people in Detroit.
Yeah.
This is only, his third season, so, you know, I don't know.
We see. We see what we see.
What else happened Sunday morning?
All right. I don't know. What else did happen Sunday morning? You tell me.
The Saints beat the Panthers. I guess that was a fun game.
It was a close one.
Yeah, I mean, division games, like, we're getting into the thick of the things where, like, teams have seen each other on film, and now teams are starting to see each other, like, in the division, you know, and you have that continuity every year to build off of, and it's just kind of still looking like the Saints aren't who we thought they were.
With that one, it's more like the Panthers are starting to gel.
No, Panthers look good.
I think the Panthers are starting to gel, and it's a divisional game, and the Saints look quite human.
That's what I mean, and we're used to them being, you know, up in the tier where Breeze is used to being.
It's just like it's their division. He's always been there. Sometimes the Panthers were there, sometimes the Falcons were there. The Bucks haven't really been there the last couple of years, so now it's kind of flipping it on its head.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we're gonna insert another good team into this division, like. Or, you know, someone who can contend with the Saints. And Brady's done that with Tampa Bay. We'll get to that in a little bit. But, I mean, Christian McCaffrey comes back for Carolina, I think, next week. He's day-to-day. So, you know, you throw him back into an offense that's kind of gotten into a groove with just Teddy. Theodore Bridgewater.
Teddy Two Gloves.
Theodore. And then, I don't know, it was a fun game, close game. And, like I said, I'm still not sold on the Saints. And I'm liking what I'm seeing from Teddy, you know, being made, you know, the starter of a team again, and kind of going through his first season with a new head coach, and finding, you know, ways to win. They lost this game, but I'm happy for Teddy.
You know, start of the season, I was like, Teddy's gonna be fine. He's not gonna be a guy who wins you the game. I've seen some things he's done that I was like, oh, that could win you the game.
He's proved you wrong a little bit.
Yeah, I was like, oh. Okay, he's had some electric plays.
I just think we have such a short memory. It's like we forget what he was doing in Minnesota before that freak injury.
He was great.
And like a lot of people say, like, oh yeah, like injuries like that you don't come back from. And we've seen examples of it not working out after coming back from injury. But it seems to me that Theodore is on the right track. Like he's starting to regain, maybe not everything he was before that, but like he's putting stuff together.
Yeah. So we'll see how that division shakes out. It could be a lot closer if the Falcons tried, like even a little bit, but that's where we're at. So I mean, it was very weird because so half of the games were one-score games, and then the other half were just kind of blowouts. Like
blowouts being like Packers Texans.
Yes. So I mean, the Packers Texans not really. Aaron Rodgers was mad, and the Texans are just Texing it up.
I don't know what's going on, man.
They don't have good... So they don't have Hopkins anymore. And that defense is not as dominant as it used to be because that defense has carried them a lot. And Deshaun Watson just doesn't make the best decisions.
No.
He just... I don't know if he's not going through reads or just... I'm not sure what it is, but some of the decision making that he chooses is just not the right call.
I've watched a few games, like in certain plays in games where Deshaun Watson will, you know, scramble out of the pocket, right, which is good, you know, get out of there because it's collapsing, whatever.
That's what he does.
But what happens is I see this time and time again. He gets out of the pocket, and then it's like he freezes. Not, you know, he's still physically moving, but like, and it's like I can see it in his head. They're just like a deer in headlights. Like he doesn't know what he's going to do. If he's going to run, if he wants to throw. What he ends up doing is just running to the sideline and then either trying to squeeze a pass in like down the sideline that's not going to make it or just running out of bounds. Like he never can complete that scramble ever.
Yeah.
And like he just needs to commit. Like he needs to say, okay, I'm going to throw this ball like before I get out of bounds or I'm just going to get a few yards. I can slide. I can be protected.
You can do something, and it's... When you're scrambling, you need to have that player downfield who can break away or make an actual play, and they
have that anymore.
They got rid of that, and that's what made him so very successful that they had that deep threat. I mean, yeah, they still have deep threats. He can still throw the ball deep, but there's nobody like, okay, pulling double coverage, nobody that is really changing up how the defense is playing.
And that just goes back to what the fuck was Bill O'Brien thinking?
I think he just wanted to get fired.
What?
He just wanted to get fired, so he was just like, I'm just gonna ruin this. I'm just gonna ruin this team. Yeah, all right. So okay, let's go to that one was just a blowout. I don't think anybody was surprised by that, but let's go to a closer one. So it was a very exciting game, actually. Steelers-Titans.
Okay, so that wasn't close in the first half. Like, the Steelers looked like they were running away with it.
And they were.
And then they came out in the second half and was like, oh, shit. Remember when we do this thing where we, like, don't squash our opponents? We just, like, let them hang around and then win at the end?
Yeah.
They didn't even do that.
No.
They were, like, forgot how to football in the second half. It was kind of, I'm not going to say sad. I don't have any fucking sympathy for the Steelers, but it was like, it kind of also was a testament to the Titans making adjustments, right? I mean, what can we say about Mike Vrabel? I talk about him every week on this show. Like,
they allowed Pittsburgh only 3 points in the second half,
and that ended up being the difference of the game.
Yeah, that was it. But like, I mean, my favorite thing about that entire game is after the missed field goal, Big Ben's face. He was just like, oh, they missed it.
I'm not going to lie. I don't know how you were so surprised. Like, when Gostowski...
I know.
65 yards out, like, I was expecting him to miss that already. So, like, you know, if he would have made it, that would have been my face. Big Ben's face to the miss. That would have been my face if he made it. When he missed it, I was like, yeah.
He's had some problems. He's had some problems this year. So it makes sense. But it was a big one. We had 2 5-0 teams. And, I mean... either one of those teams deserved to win. That was just how the game played out. And we had a couple of those games that whoever won really went for it and deserved it.
Yeah, and I think that was, for me, the most exciting game. Well, no, it wasn't. On the docket. Like, of the games I watched, that wasn't the most exciting game. But on the docket, there was 2 key matchups that I was looking forward to. That was one of them. Right, and it didn't disappoint.
No, not at all. I mean, it measured up exactly. Like, that was the game I was very interested in, like, to see what we could see.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's kind of the same thing. The defense is still pretty good. I mean, still relatively low-scoring game. And Derrick Henry still does what he does. He's like Justin Verlander. Verlander's pitches get faster as the innings go on. Derrick Henry just gets stronger.
Just eats more as the game progresses.
Yeah.
And it's like, Pittsburgh, I mean, they're such a great organization. Like, you think about all their seasons, like, as long as Mike Tomlin has been head coach, it's like they've always been contenders. And they've always had this grit to them. And to be, 6-0 now?
They're 6-0.
In, like, I don't know, that's a good squad in Pittsburgh.
It is. I don't think they've always been contenders. There's been some down years. Of course, everybody has down years, but like there's definitely been some down years. But that's the difference between the Pittsburgh franchises, and honestly, most other, if not every other franchise. They're probably they are absolutely the most stable franchise since, like, in the Super Bowl era.
Yeah.
100% the most stable franchise in the Super Bowl era. So, like, even when they have a down season, if they're going, 6-10 or something, people are calling for Mike Tomlin's head, but it's just like, no, okay, we understand we can't always win all the time. Be cool. It'll come back.
Right. And that's,
And that's what always fucking happens.
Yeah. I mean, look what's happening now. Like,
yeah.
6-0. Another game I wanted to talk about was another blowout, was Washington and Dallas. And I guess I mainly want to talk about what happened to Andy Dalton.
Unfortunate.
I texted you when it happened. Or no, you texted me.
I texted you. I was like, I know you said you were going to the store. Did you see that?
And I did. I got back and I had watched. I knew exactly when you asked me, did you go to the store, what you were referring to.
Yep.
And I was like, that was fucked up.
Yep.
I mean, it's like Dallas can't catch a break, but also like, I don't care that much like about the Dallas organization. But like Andy Dalton just getting drilled like that. Like, they went to sleep on the field.
Yeah, that was bad. Like, that was what happened to Dak. That just straight up accident. Like, that's just a freak thing that just out of nowhere, and like, it's so sad. What happened to Dalton is malicious.
Yeah. I mean, that guy got ejected, and rightfully so. I think a suspension should be warranted. We'll see. I don't think it will, depending on his history. But, I mean, it's like... I think I made this analogy to some people the other day. Was like, quarterbacks like Lamar Jackson, like Russell Wilson, like Kyler Murray, that run and, like, can really put the yards on because they're running quarterbacks. Those are the guys you expect to get hit like that.
Yeah.
Because guys are coming at him, and when they slide at the last second, like, they're already coming.
Yeah.
Quarterbacks like Andy Dalton, like, the Red Rocket's gonna slide.
He's gonna slide. He's going down. He's not gonna juke you out of your shoes.
Yeah, what the fuck are you doing?
I just that is, it's fucked.
And then you bring in someone no one's ever heard of, and it just was really bleak for the Cowboys right now. Zeke is not eating. I think he's famished.
Yeah, and I don't know. So I mean they're 2-5. They're second in the division, so it's really... I mean, I think this Thursday's game is...
Can you just not, when we talk about the NFC East, can you just please not tell me where they are in the standings of the division? Just tell me their record, and we'll leave it at that. I don't want to hear that you can be 2-5 and second in the division.
Look, so, I mean, I'm pretty sure this Thursday is Eagles-Cowboys. So whoever wins that...
Is it? Didn't the Eagles just play on Thursday night?
Oh, shoot, you're right. So it's probably not them. Who in the heck... Oh, maybe that's a... I saw a graphic.
It's Panthers, Falcons.
I saw a graphic.
It's another bird team.
Bird teams, yes.
Cowboys and Eagles are playing. That's a Sunday night game.
That's a Sunday night game.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, I saw a graphic for that, and I was like, well, whoever wins that has the division in a stranglehold. All right.
Bills, Jets.
That's the same one I was thinking. Do we believe in the Bills?
Well, they only scored field goals, but it's a division game. I always like to give benefit of the doubt in a division game. But also, the Jets are so fucking bad, and the Bills are supposed to be woo so good, and it just looked ugly.
Okay, so I will ask you, not rhetorical, do you believe in the Bills?
In what context? Like, do I believe they can take the division?
In the broadest context, do you think this is a chink in their armor? Do you think, I mean, now they're 5-2, so they're still leading the division. But they didn't score a touchdown.
No, I don't believe in the Bills. I believe they're going to win the division. I still stick by that. I made that prediction before the season, and I'm sticking with it, especially with the decline of whatever the fuck's going on in New England right now.
Things.
But, no, I don't believe in the Bills. It's like, you look at the teams they've beaten, either they weren't a good team, or they barely won. When they beat the Raiders, like, the Raiders were in that game. So it's just like, no, I don't believe in the Bills. Like, they haven't had any convincing, like, wins to me. That Rams game they won, they almost pulled a Falcons.
Yeah, almost. So, I mean, and this is where, of course, the beginning of the season, it's just, oh, okay, these teams are good, these teams are bad. So now, it's more dividing into, all right, these teams are, like, these are some of the better teams, these are some good teams, and then bad teams. And I still think they're one of the better teams.
I think they're a good team.
I still, of course, I absolutely still say they're taking the division, but I do think they're one of the better teams. And I think they're going to be... Depending on who they match up with in playoffs, I think they can make a decent run, like a decently deep run in the playoffs.
The AFC has some heavy hitters, man. Like, I don't know. Like, and we're talking Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Kansas City. I'm leaving someone out. Tennessee.
But I mean... So, I mean, you know, that's 4 teams. Would you say there are more than 4 great teams in the...
AFC?
Or excuse me, I said that was 4 teams in the AFC.
Yeah.
Do you think there's that many or more great teams in the NFC.
Well, I can think of the Seahawks.
I can think of the NFC West.
What about the Buccaneers?
Okay, the Buccaneers
are a good squad.
Yeah, they're solid.
I hate the Packers, but the Packers maybe.
I mean,
they're there. I mean, they're in the conversation.
Aaron Rodgers is a past MVP. He's won a Super Bowl, and Aaron Jones is just a monster.
Coming, yeah.
And I mean, he just has some good receivers on that squad as well. So, I would say that it's harder in the NFC.
Maybe only because the great teams in the AFC, there's like only like that 4 or 5, and then everyone else is kind of blows. In the NFC, it's like you have the good teams, and then there's still like right underneath that tier a bunch of those teams. Besides the NFC East, like the Bears, the Saints, the Panthers. Who else is over there? I mean, not the Lions.
Not the Lions.
The Vikings, maybe.
The Vikings.
I mean,
Vikings are 1-5.
There's a lot. Oh, but wait! But you believe in Kirk Cousins.
I believe in the team, and
that's not what you said
numbers.
That's not what you said last time.
The numbers that he has put up, Kirk Cousins, that he has put up, have always been solid. They have not quite Falcons it. And they're not quite as straight up as bad as Houston is looking. But the talent on that team, they absolutely should be and could be winning the games.
Okay.
But they were on a bye. So, all right, let's go with there was a couple other like nothing games, like the Chiefs Broncos.
Yeah.
49ers Patriots.
What the fuck happened? What did they benched Cam?
They benched Cam. I don't know.
What happened to him? Remember, like, in the first 2-3 weeks, we were like, yo, this is working out. Like, he's looking good. I didn't know he could throw the ball like that, and he could still run. Now it's like, he gets COVID, and, like, now he's... I guess there's a reason why nobody wanted him, and now we're seeing it.
Okay, I said at the beginning of the season that I take the Bills to win the AFC East, but if Cam works out at all, the Patriots repeat. He is not working out at all.
I can't even say at all, though, because it was for a second. Maybe.
Okay. I would not even say, like, it was working out very well. He had a couple rushing touchdowns, but he wasn't playing fantastic. He was playing well enough. And that's what I was saying. If he works out at all, if he's playing well enough, they'll do fantastic. But he's played well enough a couple games and then abysmal this last game.
It's just weird. Like, it's like a switch was flipped.
I don't know. And, of course, we know Bill Belichick, so we're like, oh, he's seeing something everybody else doesn't see.
Yeah, like, no, that's why you brought him in, right? Clearly, the smartest coach in our era sees something that, none of us do, like you said. And apparently, he was fooled like the rest of us.
Yeah. So, I mean, the last games we have for Sunday, we have Bucks Raiders.
Mm-hmm. Well, look.
Defense.
There was 8 minutes left in that game, and the score was 24-21.
Yeah.
And... no, it's like 24-20.
Yeah.
24-20. And 8 minutes left in the game. We were in it. And then, there was a big, huge play. It was a 3rd and 13. We had the Bucks, like, in their own side of the field. 3rd and 13. And then we dropped to, like, a zone cover deep. And he just threw a fucking dump, like, over the middle, and he ran for the first down. That changed the game.
Yeah.
So, but, I'm fucking saying it. I've been saying it all week. I don't think that it's cool that they made the Raiders play.
Well, is it cool that they made other teams play?
They didn't make Tennessee play.
Is it cool that they made the Patriots play?
Without Cam, one guy?
Yeah.
That's fine. That's one guy. Our whole offensive line was they didn't practice all week. And they didn't even they moved the game from primetime to sooner in the day.
Yeah.
How the fuck did they not give us that little wee leg to everyone else? Like, oh, you can play another Monday night game. Like, give us another day. So, like, I'm already livid about that. Then they eject my boy Gabe Jackson for, I don't know, nothing. I've scoured that replay a million times, and the most he did was, like, run up on a guy and was on the ground already and push him. So, not an ejectable offense to me.
Okay.
On our already fucked up offensive line.
Okay.
But,
so the offensive line wasn't, the problem, though.
No,
so you say the offensive line...
I'm going to the actual problem. I'm just venting because I was so fucking mad before the game.
This isn't a therapy session, Chris.
I don't give a shit. The defense is so atrocious. They need to fire Paul Gunther because, fucking look at it, dude.
Oh, God, we're being dramatic today. Yes.
We're not being dramatic. This is a thing that everyone has been saying. You go to any fucking pundit that's a professional, they'll tell you the same thing. Now, Gruden won't do it mid-season, and he won't come out and say he's going to fire him. That's stupid. And... do I think it's an overreaction? Maybe. But this dude's had 7 weeks, and the defense had one good game, and they still gave up 32 points. So the defense is atrocious. If the defense gets a few stops in that game, we easily have a chance to win it.
Maybe.
We were only down 4 with 8 minutes left.
Yeah, maybe. You never know.
If the defense gets a few more stops, we are in a chance to win that game.
Yes, you're right. If you stop them from scoring, then you have better chances to score.
Yeah, I don't know why you're arguing with me because it's such an obvious statement. Yeah. So just why you gotta argue with it.
It's almost like if you score more points than the other team,
that's where I'm going with this.
You win the game.
That's where I'm going with this.
Got it.
That's why I'm confused as to why you're arguing with me.
I just love hypotheticals. That's my favorite.
Okay, we can leave that alone now.
So then we had, okay, so we'll go to a close one and then an interesting one. But we had a close one that was also another wild one, Browns-Bengals.
Oh, God bless. We lose OBJ, torn ACL, that sucks.
That was, very early on in the game. And they're just really, the first couple quarters, it's pretty close. The entire game is pretty close. But the fourth quarter, they scored a collective 34 points. Like, they went off, and they were just going back and forth. Touchdown pass here, touchdown pass there.
Let's talk about,
just doing a run,
the game that Baker had after that abysmal first quarter.
The first quarter, is just like he wasn't there.
It's like he didn't start playing until the second quarter and on. Because he pretty much went perfect after that. The only incompletion he had was to clock the ball.
Yeah.
I'm still taking Gardner.
Dude. Well, good, because that's the next game we'll talk about.
Oh, good. No, Baker looked great, and, division games. I didn't see that one being a blowout. The Bengals, don't think they're a terrible squad. They just have a terrible O-line, but Joe Burrow really started to look comfortable yesterday. He looked good.
And it's... nobody's taking the Bengals, not that they're not taking them seriously. Maybe some people aren't, but definitely we know this is a year where they're figuring it out.
Right. This is a year one quarterback, number one pick. No one's expecting you to fucking make the playoffs.
And that's
in that division.
Yeah. And that's a good showing. That's a good showing, made it a close game. He did some things that you were, you would be impressed by. And so we'll see what he can continue to do. But
do you think the loss of OBJ is a big deal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do. I absolutely do.
It helps when you still have Jarvis Landry on the field.
It does. But I think he did. Of course, he looked better once OBJ left the field. But who's to say causation doesn't equal correlation?
No,
or
I
whatever.
agree. You can't say that anything can happen. It's anytime a player gets hurt, next man up. You just go, and sometimes it works out, and depending on the matchups, it might not.
But I do think it's a big deal. He's a good receiver. He's not a clutch receiver, but he's always had the good numbers. He's always had good numbers as a receiver.
Well, they got the Raiders next week, so it's going to be a shootout.
So we'll see how that one goes. Yeah, that should be a good one. And then for before the Sunday night game, we had the Chargers and the Jags, which was interesting.
Herbert got his first win.
It was very It was very interesting, and Chargers, 2-4. Like, they're doing whatever. They're doing their thing, tied with Denver for third. But Herbert got his first win, and I don't think he has thrown for less than 300 yards in a game.
Oh, he's a stud.
So this could be good. This could be very good. It bodes well for them. And so you're still taking Gardner, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's do we think?
Look, do I want to flip flop? Yes, but do I have to double down? Of course I do.
There's no mania this year.
No, there's not. It is only going to be in his first year.
We just need more stories. He needs to start doing more weird things, and then maybe that will fuel him.
We need some of his college, people to come back out and tell us some anecdotal things from when he was a fucking clown. I mean, he still is kind of a clown, but that's what he needs to continue that, because without the mania, this is what we got.
Yeah, just a quarterback.
On a bad team.
Yep. So it was a 10-point game, so it wasn't a blowout, but it wasn't a one-score game. So this is the one that's kind of like right in the middle, like meh.
Not a lot at stake for either team, I don't think.
No, not really. It's not like either of them are fighting for anything or proving anything at this point. Just kind of trying to go for wins, trying to see what you can put together against another team, basically of the same stature.
Right. I was waiting for the Chargers to punch through. It was only a matter of time. Herbert's been in all those games that he's lost.
Oh, yeah. I still, decent amount of one-score games,
Yeah.
And then we have Sunday night's game. Seattle and Arizona. Woof.
Russ threw 2 picks.
He threw 3.
He threw 3.
He threw 3 picks, and it was one of those things where it's like, oh, once they show a graphic, they're like, oh man, this person has only ever done this. Like, they've only ever thrown 1 pick in this stadium ever. Oh, and then guess what happened? He throws 3 in one night.
I remember it, and the only other pick was
in the Super Bowl. So now he has 5 picks in that stadium, and yikes. But he was just like, yeah, I love playing in that stadium. And then throws 3 picks. Boo, 3 touchdowns, 3 picks. That doesn't even...
cancels out.
It does not. It does not. But look, it was so strange, because if you're watching the game, you're like, oh yeah, Seattle's destroying right now.
In a great first half.
You're like, they're destroying right now, and then there's like, wait, they're actually only up by like 10. They're up by like 7, 3, or 10. And it's usually a one-score game at this point. So you're just like, but if you're watching the game, it looks like Seattle is doing, like, just owning them.
It had a feel like that, especially like when you have plays like DK running down the safety, and then them getting the stop, not any points off of that turnover. At that point, it felt like, okay, yeah, this is the Seahawks game.
It just felt like a classic Seahawks game, just like, oh, weird things are happening, and then we pull through with the win. And it just didn't happen. Like, let Arizona hang around. We only scored a touchdown in the second half, and then wasn't able to convert a key third down, which would have just iced the game, let the clock run out. There were so many mistakes by Seattle. Seattle lost that game. Arizona didn't win. They let them come back. They had a crucial unsportsmanlike conduct that let them continue their drive instead of just settling for a field goal. But honestly, that game, it was just like the Titans and the Steelers. It was just whoever won that game deserved to win that game. Another divisional game, another huge game. Like, that's what that game felt like. Whoever wanted it more won. And Arizona, it just seemed like they wanted it more.
Right, and they made really, really great adjustments at halftime, obviously, to kind of counter the energy that Seattle had brought in the first. Like, you could see that Arizona had a little bit of it in the first half, but they came out in the second half, and it just looked like they were rejuvenated.
Oh, yeah, they were dynamite.
Ready to come out and fucking, show that they're in this division that is really good, and they're part of that tier. Like, those 3 teams that are in there, 3.5 even, because San Francisco's not a bad team.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
Rams, the Cardinals, the Seahawks, like, all great teams in that division, and it's like the Cardinals want everyone to know, like, hey, we're here too.
Yeah.
And they did that.
They're second in the division. Like, So I mean,
and they have the tiebreaker right now.
Both the Rams and the Cardinals are both 5-2. 49ers are 4-3. Every team with a record above 500. And it was a stat like this hasn't happened this far in the season ever. Like it's week 7. This has never happened. So let's just get all 4 NFC West teams in the playoffs since that can happen now. And I don't know. I'll sell my car.
Okay, recorded here at minute 42-ish. 40-minute mark. He said that. We'll see what happens.
I hope so. Actually, if they all make the playoffs, I'll just get a tattoo of the record of them. If they all make it, I'll get like the record and the logo of each of them.
Okay, I'm holding you to it.
I would love it.
Okay, where are you getting it?
Let's get it. Let's get it right on the calf.
Okay, I like that.
Right on the calf.
Good, sounds good. Okay, now I'm be rooting for all these teams the rest of the season.
And I mean, so to finish out, it's another NFC West team. We had
the Rams,
and Bears.
Not a whole lot, I have to say.
I turned the game off. I really did. I was just like, oh, okay. Once they got that like weird deflection pick in the end zone, I was just like, that's kind of how the rest of the game is probably going to go.
You see that quote that Nick Foles had?
No, what did he say?
He said that he knows that like certain plays that Matt Nagy is going to call aren't going to work because he knows he's not going to have enough time after the snap.
Ooh.
Like he said this to people.
Ooh.
So that instills a lot of confidence between the relationship and the coach and the quarterback.
Yeah, sure.
You don't divulge that information to the press.
I mean, I think it's just him saying, I don't think it's him saying he doesn't believe in his offensive line. He just knows that there's an Aaron Donald.
True. Got that.
So you kind of got to get rid of that ball before he...
Dude is a monster.
Before he eats you.
Dude's a monster.
But I mean, that really wraps it up. There were a lot of blowouts, a lot of one-score games, close games. So Week 7 was definitely a doozy.
Week 8's going to be intense, too.
Yeah, there is a lot going on in Week 8. It's really going to... Some teams are going to separate themselves from the pack. It's
or
already
bring
happening.
themselves back
into
the pack. Like, I think this is going to be a big week for Seattle.
49ers, yeah. I mean, so look, if Seattle loses this game, then 49ers are 5-3. Seattle is 5-2, and then everyone will have 5 wins in that division.
Yep.
But I don't know. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that.
Yeah.
But as everybody knows, it is now on to our favorite segment, Hot Route.
Hot Route.
So I got some hot routes for Chris here. So after Sunday night's game, and well, actually all the games on Sunday, where's your MVP vote standing?
It's still Russ. Even with that not great performance on Sunday night, I mean, there's only a couple names that really come to mind outside of Russ. It's like Aaron Rodgers obviously is always there. I can't say Tom Brady because of everything that's around him. I can't really do that.
Yeah,
but
that's fair.
But he's also looking really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson though is still my number one. But I mean, it's still only not even halfway through the season yet. So at the halfway point almost, I'm gonna go ahead and say it's Russ.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah.
Because I mean.
He did tie Peyton Manning's touchdown record through 6 games.
Right.
So
at this point, like, you don't get the 5 wins that they have without him.
Yeah.
So
like how words work, he is the most valuable player to
that
the team.
Yes. And that's not always who gets the award.
Of course, it's usually
I'm always in the sense of that, like the most valuable person on their team, and that's why I think it's Russ.
Yeah. All right, hot route number 2.
My brother's going to love that, by the way.
Hot route number 2. So I'm kind of just going across the board and just rechecking in with everything. But what are your Rookie of the Year thoughts right now? Who might be a front runner for that, and who's kind of looking pretty good?
I mean, shit. Joe Burrow. I mean, just to be able to stand in there and fucking get killed every night or every week and still, go toe-to-toe with Baker last week. I guess I haven't watched enough rookies to really confidently say anybody else.
Yeah. And I mean, really for me, it's between Burrow and Herbert right now. I mean, because those are the two quarterbacks.
Jesus, I forgot about Herbert.
But what about Edwards-Helaire? He's had two really good games.
Yeah.
And the rest of them were just meh to maybe a little below average. But it kind of goes
back to what I was saying about Tom Brady not being MVP because of everything that's around him. I mean, he's got Pat Mahomes as quarterback who's throwing to Sammy Watkins and Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. Of course, you better fucking have good run games if those are the guys that are pulling the linebackers out of, of the line. So it's like when you have an offense that fires on all cylinders like that, one compensates the other. So it's like, okay, the run's not working in this first quarter. Let me throw to my tight end. Let me fucking throw 16 bombs to Tyreek Hill. And then it's like, now we have to do cover 3 or a zone. And it's like, okay, now we can run. And it's like, that's where he's eating up those yards. It's like, we think about like Zeke in the earlier days, like when Dak didn't have a whole lot of people to throw to, he was still eating. Okay, running backs that can still eat when their quarterbacks aren't throwing to anybody, there's a difference there. I don't think that, and I'm not being biased because he's a Chief. This is how I see it.
I don't know, because, I mean, why isn't Zeke doing as well? It's kind of the same concept, right? If this is a guy who can't eat, he should still be, getting his yards, getting his.
I think this is a unique case with Zeke. I think that the mentality in the Dallas organization right now is just, the attitude is piss poor. And it goes from the top down. I mean, reports coming out of the locker room saying that they don't like the coaching staff because they didn't think they were prepared. It's like, it's a mentality thing. So when that's hanging over you, who expects you to play well? Anybody to play well?
Okay.
We've seen Dallas since Dak went down. Like, adding that to the already drama-filled locker room, it's like, no one's going to thrive in those conditions. Maybe, and even with that, it's like maybe his offensive line, same thing. Not fucking feeling it, so they're not filling the C gap or pulling at the right times or pulling at the right speeds.
Well, really what I'm getting at is like, name a running back who is doing quite well, who doesn't also have a decent to good passing attack.
Titans?
Are you for real? Tannehill's doing fantastic.
Yeah, but he's...
Okay. Tannehill's very under the radar, and that's a dark horse for MVP pick, depending on how he does. But Tannehill's very under the radar, and he's throwing some darts. So that's what I'm saying. Like, find me a running back who's still getting his and who doesn't have a good passing support.
That could take me a long time.
Yeah, that should have been a hot route. Fuck, I don't know.
He's just trying to prove to me why the Chiefs running back should be in the Rookie of the Year conversation. We've gone this far.
Yeah. There's levels to this shit.
I think it's going to be one of the two quarterbacks, Herbert or Burrow.
And unless like it's really a standout like defensive player or somebody really destroys. But I mean, we have two starting rookie quarterbacks. It's going to be between the two of them. All right, and then this one is a little bit longer. But like I was saying, we're going through everything. Just like, what's the status of the season? Give me some of your revised division winners.
Okay, we'll start from the AFC West. Chiefs.
Okay.
AFC North. Pittsburgh.
Tough one, right?
I think we said Baltimore at the beginning of the season. I think Pittsburgh can do it.
Well, I said Pittsburgh has the most. They have the most fluidity in that. They could be 1, 2, or 3.
Yeah,
that was mine. So that's cheating, but count it.
Yeah. Okay. Pittsburgh, AFC East. I'm sticking with the Bills.
Okay.
AFC South, the Titans.
Okay.
I think only one has changed there.
Okay. So you're not picking the Colts for that?
No.
Okay.
And then we'll go in the NFC. We'll start.
Oh
with
yeah,
the
you hate Phillip Rivers. That's on me to ask a dumbass question.
Yeah, it's got to chill out over there. NFC West, I still think the Seahawks are going to take it.
Okay.
NFC North, Packers. Nothing's changed there.
Okay.
NFC East. Kind of say that for last.
Wait, who did we even say for? I don't remember who even said for that. I think it was Dallas.
I said Philly.
I might have said Dallas. I don't know.
Okay, I'm
honestly.
saving it for last. Okay, because I'm talking about the NFC South.
Okay.
The Buccaneers. And I think that changed. I think we all said New Orleans.
New Orleans, yeah.
So NFC East now. Jesus.
This is basically just a new, just start from scratch, actually. Just talk like they're all basically 0 wins because they kind of are. So just
sticking with Philly.
Sticking with Philly.
Because, I can't say Dallas anymore because even if Andy Dalton does come back, it's still just Andy Dalton.
I don't know. NFC East is a toss-up. So only 2 changed. The NFC South.
And the AFC North.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So still pretty, decent picks.
Yeah. I mean,
so far.
Those are almost easy to call because...
Well, everything that you have called, except for the AFC North, is, currently happening. Well, AFC North and NFC South, so... But everything else is,
pretty much how we thought it was going to go.
Yeah. It's as you called.
Well, I look forward to Week 8. We're going to be seeing a lot of... we're getting into the thick of the season now where, you can't be losing games anymore if you're trying to make the playoffs. This is the go time.
Yeah, the middle of the season that people, kind of have a lull, got to power through.
Right, and we talked about teams being able to separate or insert themselves right back into the middle of the pack. This is the week it's gonna be a big week for a lot of teams, and it's gonna be a big week for a lot of teams that are on the cusp. For instance, this is a must-win week for the Raiders.
Yeah,
the Seahawks can separate themselves, or they can fucking have 5 wins just like everyone else in the division.
They can have 5 wins with everybody else. Can't wait.
The Buccaneers can maintain their momentum. The Saints need to win.
Yeah.
Saints need to win.
It's at that point where it's not quite down to the nitty gritty yet, but these are more important games than people think.
Yep. So with that, looking forward to that. We'll be back next week with Week 8 recap. It's going to be exciting. And then, as always, I'm Chris.
I'm Ed.
And this has been Almost Agreeable. Thank you for listening to another episode of Almost Agreeable. You can catch all new episodes on Tuesdays and Thursdays. If you enjoyed the podcast, please like, rate, and subscribe. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Almost Agreeable.